Hello and welcome. On today's episode, we have Karl, aka Doubledrop. Karl is a DJ in the hard techno space, and today we learn all about the industry, what it's like coming up, starting from nothing, how to get gigs, how to book gigs, how to control gigs, how to control the tempo of a crowd, and all things DJ industry. He also, along with some others, has a company, an events company, so we learn all about that. And again, about the industry and how it works, booking the big time artists, what it's like to run a festival, and all things associated. So, eye-opening episode today. If you're into the music industry, I hope you enjoy. All right, welcome Karl, Mr. Doubledrop, corporate HR king by day and DJ by night. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So we're excited to hear about, I guess, becoming a DJ, that sort of realm, and then you and some friends also have the Garage Sesh, which is like your, what would you call it, like events company or?
Yeah, initially it was event management company for sure. Now it's sort of still events, but also promotions. So a lot of promotion, marketing to help our event to ultimately sell tickets to our event.
Yep, sweet. So yeah, keen to hear about all of that really. It's definitely an industry that I think a lot of people don't really know much about. They just see the event posted, they turn up and buy the ticket.
Yeah, for sure. You see that flashy DJ or act, and then all you see is a link to buying the tickets, but actually there's months and months and months and months of planning beforehand to actually deliver that actual event. Yeah, even getting the artist there as a whole adventure in itself.
Yeah, that's part of what I want to learn about.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that later, but to begin with, what inspired you to get into DJing?
Yeah, so good question. It all started honestly with my friend group. So we're a very social bunch, and I'm so glad that even it's been a couple of years that we're a really strong friend group. But essentially, we're a lot of festival heads, club heads, or just people who like to hang out, go for a drink on the weekends and socialize. And about 2-3 years ago now, so 2.5, we started going to festivals, more and more in different festivals. And there was a specific festival in the Gold Coast. Can't remember the name of it, not from my head, but one of my friends at the pre-party, it was actually at a festival at the Spit. I just can't remember which one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just know YG was playing. That's all I know. YG was playing.
We'll fact check it later.
Yeah. And we went to this it's a beautiful waterfront apartment or waterfront house. And one of my mates had like this little DJ deck. I'm sure everyone's seen it, but it's a Pioneer DJ 200. So it's just a super tiny deck, like a rectangle deck, and it has like, your two turntables at the side and a laptop connected to it. And my mate was just playing like music off of that. And obviously we've also been to the pre's where someone just gets their songs on a speaker and people just queue up songs and whatever. But what really intrigued me was, this person was playing, also like his name's Jake. He's in Germany now. I'm in Berlin, doing fashion stuff. He was just playing these tracks and it was techno. So it was like nothing I really heard of before. I'm very R&B, hip hop, top 40 type of guy back in the day. He was playing these different types of music like techno, D&B, dubstep, all through this like little laptop and DJ decks. And ever since then, I was so intrigued. So literally as I got home from the festival, I just looked up online, literally the words, how to DJ.
Classic.
And then like that just became like a minimum 3-month obsession of watching these YouTube videos, learning from like top people on the internet, like DJ Karl, DJ Ready, School, these really big names in the YouTube industry that are DJs. And then I eventually just ended up buying the exact same deck that my friend had. I asked him like, what deck did he have? Bought a laptop because I only ever had desktops as well. So I really went friggin' all in. Like this was like a 2.5K investment into like a meme hobby. And then I learned. And then because we're so social as a friend group, like the next festival we went to, or the next pre's, I just took my laptop, took my DJ decks and connected it to whatever speaker was on there, whether it was Bluetooth or someone had like a really big, good speaker system there. Just like was practicing and playing. And it just got to a point where like, and I'm pretty sure you've been to a pre before where I was DJing, where people just like don't want to leave. Like over the summer house, not the summer house one, but a couple other ones before that. Like people just don't want to leave. So me and a couple of some of the main guys like Josh WA, Andy Davey, Alan Tyron, Alistair, who's also a big DJ now, Alistair Bukowski. We just like, man, why don't we just make our own event? So we had our very first event at Josh's apartment or townhouse. And we researched everything by the book, like what DJ deck do we need? What speakers do we need? And we ended up buying or renting out these like 2 massive tops and a sub, which was the worst idea ever to have a party with that equipment in someone's house.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And
with
so
that subwoofer.
It got the police came well within like 1 hour or 30 minutes of the event. And they're just like, this is actually the coolest thing we've seen, but you guys need to stop because all these townhouses that you're attached to are vibrating.
Yeah.
And then from there, we did more research. We had another event at Beggar Box at Stafford. And we always stuck with sort of, the techno genre. So we had one at Stafford and then Warehouse 25, all within the span of, 2 years. And now our last show was literally at the Triffid, like just down the road from here. And we played to about capacity of 700-800 people. It's gone crazy. Like we had artists with like massive techno artists with like 250K plus followers. We've got Playable Plan this year. So that's how it started. It was literally just because I felt like I wanted to learn what my friend Jake was doing. That's why my name is like sort of a meme as well, Doubledrop. I'm sure everyone knows what double dropping means.
Yeah. You can Google it if you don't.
Yeah, you can Google it if you want. So Doubledrop just means when you drop 2 songs at the same time, of course.
Yeah.
That's the only meaning. But yeah, it just got to the point where don't want to toot my own horn, but probably got a little bit too good than I expected. And now, I'm going to Melbourne, Sydney, Cairns. I've got plans to go to Perth this year just to perform. And yeah, just out of a joke, it's got to the point where we have all these big events. And to top it all off, like I work in corporate HR.
Yeah, so it's so funny.
Yeah, some people...
And HR as well.
Yeah, HR, literally, like they're 2 complete opposite worlds. But I reckon that's, if you look up a definition of balance, that's what's in there in the dictionary for sure.
Why, like obviously you said Jake, whatever it was, had techno to begin with, but before that, you're probably similar to me, like top 40 R&B.
Yeah.
What made you go, I want to techno, not like, I want to learn DJing, but I want to mash up top 40 and R&B? Like, why did you stay with techno?
Yeah, it's such a good question. I think like, I've always liked alternative sounds. Not saying that techno is an alternative sound, but the general masses, it definitely is. So, back in the day when I was 18, 19, I actually went to, this is going to give away my age, but family top floor, the dubstep or the trap floor. And so I've always listened to hard music, but because of, I guess, the environments which I was in, which honestly I would say was pretty vanilla, I've only ever listened to like, top 40, hip hop, R&B. So when I got introduced to techno, I was like, damn, like this music and this community and this vibe actually really resonates with me, which is like a lot of not normal people, I would say, or people who are in it for community and the sound. I feel like let's say you go to the club, I won't name any specific R&B hip hop club, but everyone knows what clubs you go to that hip hop R&B in the Valley. It's all very cliquey. Everyone's popping bottles, spending money, trying to get girls, where I guarantee you go to a garage sesh, you go to any techno event, it's not about popping bottles, it's not about hooking up with girls, it's about listening to the music and being yourself. And I think that's what really resonated with me the more I researched into techno as a genre, and all other genres as well, like D&B, all the alternative ones outside of hip hop R&B. But more so, what really resonated to me was, just the actual like emotion you can provoke from people playing 160 beats per minute. You really just have to experience it for once in your life if you haven't, like a techno event, and that's when you'll truly understand what I'm talking about. But the hip hop R&B community didn't really resonate with me. I have so many hip hop R&B community friends. Don't get me wrong, I love you all, but yeah, for me, it's really about the music and not much else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your first gig, let's maybe take away like the house parties. Your first gig at like the warehouse one.
Yeah.
What did that feel like to play?
Yeah, so honestly, my hands were shaking for the first 5 minutes during my first like 10 gigs, because it's a big difference to play with your friends and not have that much like pressure on you, where it's big difference when even in our smaller events, it was like in a basement, and we were controlling the lighting and production. Like when I was playing music, when a drop came, I had to press another button so the strobe would come on behind me. Like it was full like bootstrap events, but honestly, very nerve-wracking. There's a lot of pressure, or there's a lot of implied pressure on you because there's like 80 people watching you, and it's not like they're looking at each other. Sometimes they are, but trust me, like as a DJ these days, most of the time when you're performing, people are just looking at you. So I'm like, I'm definitely an introvert. I would consider myself an introverted extrovert. So, you know, I can be extroverted, but it does take away from my cup over time. So I like to be introvert. I like to be by myself, or I like to be one-on-one with people. So it's very nerve-wracking. It's very like nervous, but after a couple of repetition after some repetition and after just doing it more and more, you get more comfortable. And that's when I think as an artist, you can really show yourself and who you are, and you really showcase like your skill set. But yeah, man, I sort of remember like if my friends weren't there, I reckon I would have walked off. Like 80 people looking at you at one time is just not a fun feeling, especially if you're also nervous. Now I have like 800 people, 1,000 people looking at me. I'm like, fuck it, let's I like to swear.
Yeah, bro, you can say it. Yeah.
Let's fuck it up. But
yeah. Yeah, and you can imagine, like, obviously it grows in time, where like you're 80, then 1,000, then 5,000, whatever. You can imagine when you're, you know, Avicii levels and you're at Tomorrowland and there's like how many. Yeah. But by the time you get to there, you've done the build up.
Yeah, and I've been very lucky as well. I've met a lot of really big artists like in the industry, especially internationals as well. And I've really leveraged like their experiences too, and gained their advice, whether it's about like making music or performing or preparing my sets. And, you know, I would say like eight times out of 10, most of the DJs that do play, you know, your 5-10K person events, they feel so disconnected from the crowd anyway, because they're so high up, like at the stage, that they love, like, a lot of them say their sweet spot is around that 500, 1,000, where...
Is that like boiler room?
Yeah, boiler room styles, where you can still make genuine connections with people in the crowd, as opposed to being all the way up top and, you know, everyone's moving, because when there's 5,000-10,000 people, not everyone's going to be like standing there and experiencing your set. There's going to be a lot of movement, and it takes away from, I guess, like what you can deliver as an artist. But yeah.
So you sort of touched on before, when you're learning, you literally just YouTubed, like how to do it. Yeah. Are there any other resources that you use when you're starting out to learn?
Look, there's a lot of like free and paid sort of resources you can learn. You know, a couple ones from the top of my head that are outside of YouTube or just like literally practicing is there's like paid courses you can buy online with tutorials. There's an event in Brisbane, I think it's like in Australia, Your Shot, where you actually like train and practice with professional DJs and perform a set. A couple of my friends have done that before. But yeah, it's just like learning the guitar or learning something new. You just have to expose yourself to it. And then I personally learn best by just giving it a go and repetition. So for me, I just watched a lot of YouTube, practiced a lot, but also I think equally as important as all those other different types of resources is just going to those events, especially the smaller ones, and just vibing, meeting people, networking, but also like maybe going a little bit closer to the deck and just having a look at what the DJ is doing. And then after the event, just going up to the DJ and asking like, hey, I really like this transition you did with this song. Like, how did you do that? And taking a little bit from something from everyone. That's what I did at the start. I was looking at really great DJs, even DJs I was in the same lineup with. I'm like, yo, how did you do that? Can you teach me? And then now I have like this really big repository of, let's say DJ transitions or DJ tricks that I can pull like just like that because I've had so much seat time on the decks already.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't have to be just YouTube. There's a lot of paid alternatives, but honestly, in my opinion, you don't need to pay anything. You don't need to take lessons. You just need to have a love for music and just give it a go, because the only thing that will make you better at the end of the day is repetition and doing it yourself.
Yeah. I was going to ask this question later, but you sort of touched on it there. What's the community like amongst DJs? It sounds like it's nurturing as opposed to competitive. Like are most DJs like, oh yeah, cool, I'll answer that question for you.
Good question. Honestly, it's 50-50. There's a lot of DJs in the industry that gatekeep. It's just like any other industry.
Yeah.
And like there's good people, there's bad people. There's people who just don't really care and want to do their own thing. So you really have to pick who you talk to, who you network with. But I personally, because I'm in HR, I'm all about helping people. Look, if anyone has any questions, I've helped a lot of like people become DJs or just give them general advice. But for me personally, my values are I want to teach people how I got good. So I'm more than happy to do it. But I definitely have met people in the industry that are very gatekeeping. At the end of the day, you're trying to get booked for a gig that only 7 or so DJs will get, and there's thousands of DJs in Brisbane. So what's your differentiator? And if you have a special trick, or you have a special, that's a certain network that will get you that booking. Some people do gatekeep, which kind of sucks, but the industry will never push forward if everyone gatekeeps. So I'm all about sharing. I'm all about giving people other opportunities. At the end of the day, like I'm happy to just be at events and growing the community rather than being on a lineup, every single week, every single time. But yeah, it's a good question. I would say the DJ industry is just like any other industry. There's good people, there's bad people. You just have to choose who you talk to. And there's a lot of great supports too. Like I'll shout out a couple of really great companies like Nexus in Gold Coast, or in Melbourne, there's like the Serum Crew, there's Turbo. These are really good names in there that I generally can guarantee are really nice. In Brisbane, there's a couple of really great DJs. I moved to the UK now, but like Captain Morgan, X-Ray, some really, really great guys and really great people that will give you the time of day to teach you something. But yeah.
So would you say someone, let's say I'm like, yeah, I'm going to DJ now, I want to learn it, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you would say? It'd be like, go on all the free materials, YouTubes, whatever, go to gigs, hang around, talk to people if you can. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd add in there to?
Yeah. So generally I'd give them advice as well on like what equipment to buy first. I generally will ask like, in your 1 year plan, is this going to become, are you wanting to perform at live sets in front of people, or do you just want to play in front of your friends every now and then? Because those are two very different avenues that you can go on. There's a lot of like DJs that will never play on stage because they just don't want to. So I'll also give them advice around like what equipment they can buy. So equipment that will fit well in like a home studio or just a home setup to play with friends. Or if they're wanting to play eventually in clubs, I'll suggest, equipment that I recommend they get to prepare them to play in clubs as soon as possible. Because some controllers or some DJ equipment actually don't translate well with each other. But yeah, like I'm very lucky and fortunate as well. Like if they're from Brisbane, I actually will just invite them over and say, hey, come play on these decks, because I do have professional decks at home, and see how they fare on it. I actually did that on Thursday night. Someone came over, one of my friends, they've been wanting to play for a while. I'm like, yep, just come over, I'll have a dinner. But after, let's have a bit of a jam. And they just had to play, and they're like, oh, yep. I obviously have a lot to learn. I'm like, no, all good. So if you like this is what you should get. If you don't, get this. But yeah, I only have my own experiences to talk about, but all you need is YouTube and a love for music. Like that's all you need. Everything and this is the great thing about, 2025 is everything can be learned on YouTube. As scary as that sounds as well.
Yeah, no, it's everything now.
Literally everything.
What's the least glamorous part? I think sometimes people think of DJs like, oh, you go in front of these crowds, like say at the top level. Yeah. You go in front of these crowds, you do this and you travel. Well, what's the least glamorous bit?
Yeah. I mean, it really depends on what you like, because travel is a really hard thing, because like let's say you're playing at Melbourne or Sydney, most of the companies that will book you will just fly you in on the day and make you leave like at the earliest flight possible the next day. So like 6, 7 a.m. because that's the cheapest. So that in itself is negative. But honestly, because I've been doing it for a while and I think every DJ sort of goes through it, but the least glamorous thing is the drug culture. Especially as a DJ, you're just exposed to a lot of free stuff. So at the start, like I'll admit, it's hard to say no. But you sort of just, you either go one or two ways. You either start to live that life fully, or you remember that you're doing this for the music and you're here for the enjoyment of other people, not for the enjoyment of getting free stuff and drinking excessively. There's a lot of DJs I know in the industry that are stuck in that, where like we have these things in the industry called riders, which is a set of equipment or like food or drinks that we have to give to bookers so they can, prepare whatever we need. So if we need a particular speaker setup or a particular deck we only use, they know. On my rider, it says specifically, Doubledrop does not consume alcohol during sets. And so can you just please provide a bottle of water, 2 bottles of water, a towel, and 2 sugar-free Red Bulls. I know some riders are like 1 bottle of Absolute, 1 bottle of Grey Goose with mixes, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, for me personally, that's just taking the piss. Like we're here for the enjoyment of others and we're getting paid to perform. We're not getting paid to get drunk or do drunks. So I would say that's a really bad, like the least glamorous side of being a DJ is like that drug and really heavy drinking culture, where it's okay. Like I understand why people do it as a patron, but like as a performer, like I won't judge you either way, but I personally just, I've learned my lesson, so I just don't do any of those things anymore. And it's given me so much more love for performing in front of people, because when you don't have those, you don't have those impediments while you're performing, you can really feel the energy more and you can connect with the crowd more.
I was going to say, would you say that a gig sober feels better than a gig not sober?
100%. As a performer, yes. As a patron, look.
Oh, patron's completely different. As a performer.
As a performer, 100%. Like you feel everyone's energy more. Like you can look at people, how they're reacting. So it actually helps you to build your performance or your set more. Like what song should I choose next? Is everyone dancing hard? Is everyone getting a bit tired? So I need to change the song. You feel a lot of that more. And you're just like, you're just not impaired. So you perform better, and things like that. So yeah, I would say, in my opinion, doing it sober is a lot better. And it's just good as well to go home and sleep immediately. Because most of the times, like we're finishing
kick-ons.
Most of the time we're finishing events at like 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. if you're in Melbourne, Sydney. So I do appreciate just like getting to bed straight away, or at least go for a rest. Instead of just staring at the wall from the eyes.
Are there any other misconceptions about the DJing or events industry that because that's a big one. Everyone's like, oh, every DJ's cooked hours when they DJ. Are there any others that people think? There might not be. I was just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've if anything, like we're, in my opinion, and because I'm just like a Brisbane-based DJ, I'm not like I tour internationally, but honestly, we're all just normal people. Like most of us have jobs outside of DJing. We're just like you. We just have taken a bit of time to practice this skill, where you might have practiced guitar or piano, or you might be playing touch footy or whatever hobby it is you're doing. We just chose this hobby. So we're just like every other person. We just, we just have the opportunity to perform in front of thousands of people. Is the only difference. Can't really think of other misconceptions on. Honestly, I haven't come across any.
You may not be, but
I do get treated like a celebrity though. If someone I meet that knows me, like I've been like asked for autographs before in Melbourne.
Really?
Which is
what does that feel like? Weird or good?
It feels, at the start it felt weird, but now it does feel good. But I think that's maybe playing in my own head, because I'm just like, man, like 2 years ago I was like playing in front of 80 people. come on.
Yeah.
And now people are like tapping me on the shoulder in Melbourne. It's like, oh my God, are you Doubledrop? I'm like, I have been wanting to go to Brisbane so much. Like, what are you playing in Melbourne next? I'm like, I'm blah, blah, blah. Like, it's super surreal. It's a very cool feeling. It's also cool, like people don't know my real name.
Yeah.
They just know me as Doubledrop because I don't have like a personal Instagram anymore. And on my Instagram page, I don't have my name on there.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting for people to call me Doubledrop. Instead of Karl, my real name.
Fuck, what's it called? The helmet guys? What are they called again?
Which one?
The DJ.
Oh, yeah, like Marshmallow.
Yeah.
There's heaps of people in the industry with masks.
Yeah, I was just blanking.
A lot of them do it so they can keep their personal life different as well. But yeah.
You sort of touched on it before, when you're like, oh, being sober, you can recognize the crowd and the mood and stuff like that. What do you do when you can see either or, like someone's before you, the crowd's real flat because their performance was mid, or you've started and you're going, oh, I haven't read the room here. How do you save it?
Yeah, so I think what makes a good DJ is having different scenarios prepared with the songs you're going to play. So if the crowd's a bit flat, then I'll usually take it down a notch to give them a little bit of time to rest and recover, and then start picking it back up with, like, let's say a sing-along song or a song that goes really hard but with a long build-up so people have time to rest. And then I'll test that and see, are they engaging with it or are they not? If not, I might even change like the subgenre of techno I'm playing. But yeah, generally, like a mark of a good DJ, an experienced DJ, is you do have a couple of songs prepared that you want to play on the night, but you can easily transition to, alternative songs throughout the night to make sure you're matching sort of the crowd's energy, or you're taking, your crowd on a journey to get them to the point where you want them at. Yeah. So I like, for example, in my current USB, I think I have like 3,500 songs. And these are like very well produced songs. Some of them are my own tracks. And I have like different sections where it's like opening songs, finishing songs, pick me up songs, take me down, sing-alongs, pick me up, sing-alongs, long breaks. So, I think I've got to the point where I'm really good at like commanding a crowd to do what I want, but also you just do have to have a look to make sure you understand where they're at. Yeah. But I would say, like, as well, now that I've got a bit of a fan base, or I guess a following, most of them enjoy what I play anyway. So that's the difference between like a club DJ and an event DJ. With clubs, you do get a lot of people that don't know you. And so therefore you do have to look at a crowd, where when you're DJing at an event, like a ticketed event, most of them are going there for you. Yeah. So they, everyone's a lot more engaged than in the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You. What does a perfect gig look like for you in terms of maybe like how the set would go and crowd engagement and stuff?
Yeah, so I don't think there's such thing as a perfect gig, but I definitely enjoy the 90 to 120 minute gigs. So those are the ones where I can really take people on a journey. It's not like an hour of power where you're just doing banger after banger after banger to try to get the most clips as possible or the most crowd engagement. My perfect gig, if I could say, would be a 90 to 120 minute set. I'd love to play a lot of different subgenres of techno. So, starting off with more melodic hard techno to traditional hard techno to industrial to shrans. So like really taking people on a journey and playing to a more intimate crowd. Like the sweet spot is really that 500, 700 mark where people are really engaged. They're with you for the whole way through. That's what you can really ask for in a perfect gig. And like, no, everyone's having a good time. No one's, being a menace to the security guards, things like that. But yeah, I don't think there's such thing as a perfect gig, but there's specific attributes you can match to a gig to make sure it's one you'll enjoy. Yeah. It's all about like crowd engagement and having a connection with the audience. Yeah.
What does success look like for you from the DJ front? As in, like, technically now I'd class you as successful because you're getting gigs, like you say, you're doing well. Do you have a vision for like, I want to get to X? Yeah,
so really good question. I've personally been battling this a lot with myself because, look, I've been in HR for like 9 years. I'm a HR manager for a national company that looks after New Zealand. So I think you can assume I'm a pretty good pay packet.
Yeah.
It's in engineering as well. So, it's not like I'm, let's say, and nothing against it, but like, working at Woolworths while chasing my dreams. Like, I have a very good job.
You're already established.
Yeah. I'm very well into my career, and DJing just sort of fell into my lap. DJing, performance DJing just fell into my lap. So, look, for me, success as a DJ for me looks like, touring Australia and Asia, eventually. So doing a tour like in Perth, in Cairns, in Darwin, in Adelaide, but also countries like Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, and getting more so of a life experience from it rather than a monetary benefit. So because like I'm very like financially secure anyway, like I don't really care too much about the money, but I just want to experience DJing and like just experience a bit of more life out of it. So I've got a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have, last year traveling to Cairns. Like that's not like Cairns was cool, but like, I don't wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to go to Cairns for the weekend.
Yeah.
So it was cool to go there, like visited a couple of rainforests, waterfalls there, while performing as well. So yeah, I just want to, for me personally, I just want to experience life out of DJing. So I want to travel places, not on my own expense. I want to experience new cultures, nightlife, and I want to be able to deliver, my style of DJing to other people, to as much people as possible. And it's good that I don't have to rely on it as a income source. Yeah.
That's a game changer when something isn't your income source or you're not fighting for it to be. You take more liberties because there isn't really any consequences. Like, if it doesn't work out, well, I have my normal job.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it kind of always works in your favor. But when you're like desperate for something to work, sometimes you make decisions that shouldn't be made.
Yeah, and I think it's like, it just really depends. Like if you really, really needed to make this to work, I definitely could be like doing a lot more with making music, preparing my sets, marketing of my brand. Like there's so much more I could be doing, but it's cool to just take it in my own pace. I don't have to play every weekend, so I can eat.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
I can really pick and choose like what events I want to play at, what clubs I want to play at, what countries I want to visit. The fee I can charge. I don't need to accept like, I don't want to call out the industry, but some of the people in the industry are really bad pay. But I can command like, for the industry promoters, what the fee is. Like I can command 5 to 6 times more of what people are paying. And if they say no, I'm like, I don't need to play.
Exactly.
And when they do, I say, yep. And I'm getting paid well above what everyone else is getting paid. So I can make sure I deliver something unique to people. But yeah, it's, I think it goes both ways. There's pros and cons. If it is what you want to achieve and put all your energy into, I just see it differently, where it gives me the freedom to express myself truly because I don't have to make money out of it. Yeah. But also respecting myself enough where, I have a certain number that you need to meet. And if you can't meet that, then all good. Like I just won't play.
Yeah. Thailand, Tomorrowland would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is that a bucket list?
It is a bucket list. I mean, for all the OG Doubledrop fans, I've actually played at Tomorrowland. If you look at the 2023 after video, you'll find me there.
Right.
That's all I'll say.
What's something you wish the scene would do more of?
I think diversity in the lineup. So,
what do you mean by diversity?
Yeah, so I'm just going to call it out. There's a lot of white males.
Okay. I didn't know if you meant music diversity or the humans that are performing diversity.
The music itself is so diverse. Like we have melodic techno events, hard techno events, industrial techno events. I will say like techno in Brisbane is a lot smaller than other scenes like D&B, obviously hip hop, R&B. It is very small niche, but the variety I would say is very good. And, techno in Brisbane's pulling easily 800 people per event if you market it well. So there's no problem with that. But I feel like, so not even in techno, but the industry as a whole, I feel like there is a lot more space for like neurodivergent people, like people of color, females. There's a lot of lineups where I'm just like, man, it's just like the same people and their friends. And
is that because it's like a boys' club? Like all the agents and booklet people?
Yeah, to an extent. Like, And this might be because there's an underrepresentation of like female-led techno events, which could also cause a problem to with like the lack of diversity. But I just feel like there's just the same people getting booked for the same events every week or every event. And yeah, I would just like to see more diversity. And I know they can do it because I know so many talented people that I've put on the business side. So the Garage Sesh side, like we've put on a lot of diverse people, not because they're diverse, but because they're so good at performing and delivering a good show, where I think a lot of people are not chosen because they're diverse, but because, you know, this person knows this person and this person really wants to play and blah, blah, blah. You just get same old in the industry at the moment, where I just know we can do better.
That's probably a good segue to shift into Garage Sesh now.
Yep.
So we've kind of touched on how Garage Sesh was founded. What is the vision for the brand? Like where would you guys want to take it?
Yeah, so such a good question. I mean, because the funny thing is, like, all the Garage Sesh team, like, we're all corporate.
Yeah.
So like, I think first of all, that's our point of difference straight away, that we're very professional. We are very good with money, or how we handle finances. We're very good with the processes and procedures, because we all work like in professional jobs. Like, we have a lawyer, we have a construction manager, we have a policy writer, we have an engineer, we have a HR manager. So we inherently are very like well-educated people.
Yeah.
So that's already given us a leg up. But in terms of our vision, honestly, outside of that, we want to do a festival. Like, we want to get to the point where we're making enough revenue that we can take a risk on having like a festival like Touch Base, like Wildlands, probably not that big to that scale, but, you know, having like a day event for 9 hours where we get international headliners, and it's a festival. So it's on a big stage like at RNA Showgrounds or Inns Hill or the Spit in Gold Coast. Anyway, we don't even care. But we just want to get to the point where we're doing 1,000+ person event, and it being like a genuine festival.
Yeah.
We know how to get there. It's just a matter of time.
So what, because you said you did the trivia the other day.
Yep.
And that was 700.
Yep.
What would, because the RNA is obviously a lot more than 1K.
I think it's like 3,000 to 6,000.
And so what is the difference, like, besides the venue? Like, what's the difference between the Triffid and RNA in terms of, like, is it you need the money? Is it you're not confident in getting the ticket sales or the artists? Like, where's the gap?
Everything just has to fall in place. So yeah, the actual investment would be significantly larger, because there's a lot of upfront costs you'll need to pay. So for a festival, like, you're trying to book, let's say, even at a minimum, 4 international artists. So you have to pay 4 international artists flights, visas, accommodation, half of their set fee before they even land. Plus, we have to pay for production costs. So production of the whole event, security, fencing, all of these things are usually front-loaded costs. So without like a proper capital, that's where most people will struggle. That's where we'll definitely struggle, because we just don't have the scale to that yet. We can definitely pay for a show at the Triffid. We can definitely pay for it, up to 1,000 people fairly easily. But when we're talking like, 3 to 6 times at that scale, and it's, I guess, the biggest thing with us right now, as well as a lot of festivals in Australia are shutting down. It is a very scary time at the moment, especially with Queensland and Brisbane as a whole. I will say, and you guys can just pop off, keep doing what you want, but Brisbane is notorious for buying tickets last minute. So we usually do like anywhere from 40 to 50% of our ticket sales in the last 2 weeks. And to have half of your projected revenue come in at the last 2 weeks is actually very scary.
Because you don't know if it's coming.
Yeah, especially when you're like, our events going well over the 5 figures, like total expenditure. So to have 40 to 50% of your revenue coming in the last 2 weeks, when you've been planning it like for 8 to 12 weeks prior, it's really daunting. And we're really lucky where we've smashed all our events. But yeah, sometimes we've lost money on events before, which is fine. But it's just really scary when you're so in the red and then you see it creeping back into the green, but only at like the very last second. Yeah.
Let's go with, I want to talk about why festivals are failing, for lack of a better word. But before we do that, you kind of touched on it before. What's everything involved in setting up an event? Because obviously you say you got security, you got to pay for the venue, insurances, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Then you got the artists. What, like, ballpark figures, what costs are we looking at for those sorts of things?
So
obviously venues are going to be different, but just...
Yeah, it really depends because it just depends on like what kind of event you're running. You're running a local show where you're just going to have local artists, or are you going to run a show with an international or two? So local shows, and this is like only for the techno industry, is all I have knowledge for. Like, let's say local show, 500 people, you're getting like 6 or 7 artists, like all in, you're only looking at around like anywhere from 7.5 to 10K.
For your investment initially,
And that investment usually is like half. So some contractors, they're okay for you to pay them after the event. So that sort of alleviates sort of that. But local show about 7.5, 10K at a max. Like that's making sure you have like a really good setup, really good venue, really good photographer, videographer. You're paying your artists really well, things like that. For international shows, like I don't think I could give you a specific number on like our last show, but let's say you're booking artists of a similar caliber. It could easily run like 20, 30, 40K.
So what's an international headliner?
Oh yeah.
Roughly, what are you paying there?
Yeah.
Or like
that's fine. It's all public knowledge, but it just really depends on how hyped the artist is at the moment. And like the measures we do is Spotify and SoundCloud plays, and like upcoming albums they're going to release. So we gather all this information to make as best call of a possible we can make based on what audience we think we can pull based on their metrics. So so that their set fee generally for a bigger artist, small international artists, I can tell you off the bat, is no more than 5K. But bigger artists is usually tracking at around the 10 to 15K for a 90-minute performance.
And then you've got flights, visas.
Yeah, flights.
Do you have to pay for the hotel, all that sort of stuff?
Flights, visas, accommodation, transport.
So there's another 5K.
Yeah.
Because international flights. Yeah.
Booking fee, tax, because a lot of them, they have to do like a one-time tax thing to the ATO because they're...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so some of them will make you pay their tax, some of them won't. It just depends. But all in for one artist to come in, like let's say just major, like let's say tier 1, 20K minimum. Yeah. This is for a 90-minute performance. Yeah.
And these guys obviously aren't as big as like your Fishers and those kind of guys. Yeah. So then you can probably make that 6 figures.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why the bigger festivals are failing now, or not failing, but closing, or whatever you want to call it?
It all comes down to people just aren't buying tickets quick enough, and that could be because of the lineup, or it could be because of the cost of living. So there's so many factors at the end of the day as to why festivals aren't getting sold out, or people aren't buying tickets, or people just aren't going out. But it just all comes down to like literally the cost of living. Like even me, I raged at my electricity bill. Like because it's just so expensive. Like I remember I went to Europe like 2 years ago, and I was buying my groceries for like $50 a week. Came back from Europe, $100, and I don't think I paid less than $100 for a shop in the last 2 years.
No, never.
And I eat very clean. Like I buy basic food. I barely have any treats, and it's still like $100. But yeah, it's a lot of things, but yeah, it's honestly, so the crux of the reason is people aren't buying tickets early enough, but the underlying reasons is like, the cost of living, the lineup might not be hitting, people's music tastes are different, and people are just consuming music or entertainment in different ways because of the cost of living. So they could be having house parties at home, because at the end of the day, like, as well, a night out, even an event night out, could easily cost a couple $100 easy.
Oh yeah. I barely go to gigs and stuff anymore.
And that's not even including the ticket price yet.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I went to the Fish on the coast.
Yeah.
And by the time you factor everything in, like, because it's the coast, right? So you got a hotel, then you got the ticket, that was like high twos or something, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then you got drinking, which is $15 a pop.
Yeah.
And then you got this and you got that. And it's like, you're looking at $500, $600, $700 for a night out.
Exactly.
People don't have that.
No, and like it is what it is, and that's why like we've sort of in Garage Sesh we've focused on sort of those smaller shows for now, where the upfront cost is a lot smaller, but even for the patrons, like we can just charge them $30-$40, where it's very reasonable. They're still going to get a very great event, and I can guarantee you are getting your money's worth. But just focusing more on the smaller capacity events, still having really great performance there, like great DJs and stuff, but just making it a bit more affordable for people so they can actually do something and go out instead of, I went to Touch Base yesterday and I'm very lucky. I got in there for free, but I did buy a ticket. I already had a ticket anyway before I got offered a free ticket, and it was like $140. And that's before the Uber to get there. That's before pre-drinks. That's before drinks. And I'm lucky. I don't drink that much anymore.
Yeah. But most people who go to like concerts are drunk or high. So you factor that in.
Yeah. And like the Uber back home, and then the food you eat after. Like I'm very glad the decision we made at Garage Sesh is making our events affordable. So, around that $35 to $40 range, unless we're bringing like a super big artist where we can guarantee you will get your money's worth. It's just we need to charge you a little bit extra. But yeah, cost of living, man, I think it all comes down to, and yeah, if my only recommendation for people listening to the podcast that are thinking of going to like events, like if this event you really want to go to, the best way you can support the event is just buying a ticket early. And most of events have like refund options anyway, so you really won't be out of pocket. Not saying that all events are struggling, but it just really helps with financial security for that event.
Do you do early bird or whatever it's called?
Always, yeah. And we've been pumping the early bird numbers higher and higher to really reward people. But there's only a certain amount we could.
Yeah. You can't do a loss.
Yeah. So we always do early birds. It's like a big thing for me, and we have like a good promotion team. And if you are a patron that does come back often, we usually just like send you an email for like 20-25% off to really say thank you for the support. So there's a lot of different incentives to buy a ticket early for sure. But it's just, I've talked to so many people in the Brisbane industry, like people in Brisbane just don't buy until last minute. Like it's just an epidemic in Brisbane.
Oh, I have it at the gym. I'll organize an event, and then like 10 people RSVP, but then 50 will turn up.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, why don't you RSVP? And they're like, oh, something better might have come up. Like, this is the good thing.
Exactly.
What are some of the things, Garage Sesh, some of the hurdles you came up with in the beginning?
Yeah, so honestly, because everything was so new to us, and while we were leveraging like new relationships, it was just a matter of like understanding how to run an event and writing down all our processes so we could replicate it. How do we book a DJ? Like we didn't even know things like who do we talk to?
How'd you learn all that?
Asking people in the industry and then just doing it. Like, as I said to one of our first events in Warehouse 25 in the basement, like as a DJ, I was a DJ and a lighting assistant and a sound controller and event management where I was like talking to people. Like it's good to start off in a smaller event because you get to learn everything. And then when you get bigger, when you have more revenue to spend, you can offload tasks to other people who do it better. So your overall event is just so much better. But yeah, all the hurdles are just learning hurdles. They're just things that you don't know that you need to learn. We've definitely made a lot of mistakes, like even like ticket pricing, our sound production, our lighting production, the way we market has really changed in the last year and a bit. Nothing significant. Like obviously money is a big thing as well. We really wanted to make sure that we did like an initial investment and would have to invest after. But we have lost money on shows because maybe we spent too much on an artist, like we just made the wrong call. Still a very good event, like we sold out the event, but we literally just didn't do a spreadsheet. So we just lost money.
It's just human error.
Yeah, so all the hurdles we've overcome, and there'll always be plenty more. Like there's always like, at every event, there's always like something that doesn't go right that you learn off.
Yeah. Even we do stuff for 5 years, you still go,
exactly.
I haven't had that problem before. And
exactly. Like our last event, not the show at the Triffid, but we had a show at Sugar Nightclub. My really good mate Ryan owns the club, and we did like a boiler room setup. And it was like, in my opinion, for me, it was my best set I've ever played, but I forgot to press record on the recorder.
Yeah.
So no one can ever hear that set again, ever. You had to be there to witness it, which I think is even better.
It's cool, yeah. But annoying for you because now you can't clip
exactly.
it.
Yeah, exactly. We wanted content from that because like the boiler room setup was sick. We had like a 360 camera hanging up from like the wall and 3 different camera angles, and we can't use it. But there's a little, and now we have 2 redundancies in place to make sure that the audio is being recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a lot of those lessons doing this. And I learned because my computer was too old, but I didn't realize that it was affecting it. And like I recorded an episode once and it changed the audio settings to like 130% input.
Oh, right.
And that was with Hanks.
Yeah.
And so it was 2.5 hours of like gold, but everything was muffled because we were like yelling at each other. Because it was like,
I know.
You learn your lesson real quick.
It's hard to replicate natural conversation as well.
No, you can't do it again.
Exactly.
Yeah. As you mentioned previously, like the Brisbane scene is a bit smaller. Do you find that does limit, like, let's say if you had the money, you were ready, could you sell out RNA? Is the scene big enough to do that? Or are you like, you'd have to go to Sydney or Melbourne to have that kind of size show?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it could be done. You just have to pick the right artist, and Brisbane will only resonate towards like top 3 trending TikTok artists. And that's just how it goes, unfortunately. Like when you are booking the RNA or those really big venues, you have to go with what the masses want, which is fine. But yeah, I from the top of my head, there's probably only 3 or 4 artists right now in the hard techno scene that I would be comfortable with booking to make a decent event at the RNA. Yeah, so it's all about who you book for sure. Brisbane just doesn't have for example, Pika in Melbourne, I think is like 8,500 capacity, and they're doing really good shows there, but like you couldn't do a show like that in Brisbane with the lineups there.
Just wouldn't sell?
Not big enough. Yeah, the artists just aren't big enough. Yeah.
Do you have, like, will you venture to Sydney, Melbourne and do shows there, or are you going to stick to Crete? Like,
so anything's possible. We've definitely discussed it. We do have a lot of fans in Sydney, Melbourne. We have a big network, and I've played there. Ali's played there, who's part of the Garage Sesh crew as well. So we do have like a decent following, but it just really depends on what lineup we can produce. It's because the scenes are so rich there. It's really all about delivering a good experience, but also who you're bringing.
Yeah, that's any festival. Like, I'll look at a lineup. I'm like, I'm not going. I'm not spending $400 on that.
Exactly.
But then I'll see some like, the thing is, I've seen most artists that come to Australia now. I've seen.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm like, I don't need to pay unless like Chili Peppers comes out, Metallica. Then you're going to pay $400 a ticket because they'll never come again.
Of course. The thing about Brisbane as well is Brisbane's usually the state or Queensland is the state that usually gets skipped. So a lot of the big techno artists will actually just not come to Brisbane.
So it's Sydney, Melbourne.
Yeah, so we actually really enjoy being in Brisbane because we're the ones bringing the people that don't come to Brisbane usually. And because I've got like a bit of a reputation and background now, a lot of the big artists actually reach out to us directly now to do like a 3rd or 4th show in Brisbane. So yeah, I personally do enjoy holding our events mainly in Brisbane because we're able to deliver to Brisbane what you need to travel to Sydney, Melbourne for.
Yeah.
Like last year, I traveled to Sydney, Melbourne to watch so many artists. Like I think I did like maybe 4 or 5 Melbourne trips outside of, that's not including when I played Sydney, Melbourne too, just to watch like artists I really wanted to watch, like Nico Moreno, like Azia, like Sarah Landry, like traveled to Melbourne for all those things. Saw 9x9 in Sydney, and because they just don't cover Brisbane. Yeah.
Initially, so now you said you've got a bit of a rep. So some people kind of contact you and it would be easier to book artists because you have a rep. At the beginning, how did you get artists?
Yeah, so at the beginning, we actually just focused on local shows. So we had like really big DJs, but just in the local scene. So, DJs based in Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne. We just booked like really popular DJs in our scene that people would know, but just held smaller events and then got more people to come. Our following got bigger. And as our following got to around, I won't put a number on it, but let's assume 4 to 6K followers. when you're messaging from an Instagram page to a manager with a page 4 to 6,000, and you can show, videos, photos of your previous events, they're a lot more likely to engage with you than, having a
brand new page.
Brand new page with no reputation. You can't show any of your previous events. Yeah.
It's tricky to like get that first customer when you're a nobody.
Yeah,
because they go there for the proof.
Yeah, so that's why we just did like smaller events with big-ish DJs. Like they're all still very good. They're just not international, so they can't pull a big crowd. But we were targeting like anywhere from 300-400 person events with that. And then as soon as our following got bigger, then we started reaching out, and it's like, this is our portfolio of events we've done. We'd like to get this artist in. This is our vision, and they're a lot more receptive to sort of people with experience.
You said earlier that obviously you run the events, but you kind of have to run your own promotions and marketing as well, which makes sense because you don't want to spend the money, right? You're trying to save costs.
Yeah.
What are some things that you guys do, I guess now, because now is what works, to grow the brand or the lineups or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, we're still definitely doing a lot of new things, unique to sort of our industry, or at least to us. So, sometimes we have like an Instagram takeover where one of the team will just answer questions from people on Instagram and engage with, our patients that way. So we're just not like people that run events. We test and try different marketing styles. So, do we run a black and white campaign? Do we run a video only campaign? Do we run a different style of photography campaign leading up to an event, or like when we don't have an event booked yet? We just try different marketing tools at the end of the day. And the good thing is, like, we have a lot of people in the team that are interested in like photography or video editing and things like that. So the cost is very low. None of us take salaries from Garage Sesh. But yeah, just always trying new things, and things that obviously looking at engagement metrics and metrics or engagement that works, then we start pushing sort of that style.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone's trying to start their own events company, could be different genres. What are some basics, like get these 5 things or do this before you even think about this?
Look, honestly, the first thing I would recommend is set up an ABN.
Yeah, I mean, that's a given.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, really?
Yeah, especially because like a lot of new events, they aren't in it for the business, which is so fine. They just need to like make events with their friends. But as soon as you like charge a ticket, you need an ABN. Otherwise, the tax liability actually falls on you, which could really snowball to your favor. Yeah, you'd be surprised, honestly, Zane. So the first thing I would recommend is set up an ABN. The first instance you think you're gonna sell tickets. Yeah. Apart from that, look, running an event is just like running your birthday party. You just need to know, when is your event going to be held? Who are your audience, or who are the people you're inviting, and who's going to be playing at your event? Is it a clown? But the clown's a DJ. So who's the DJ? And just be ready for a lot of upfront costs at the start, because a lot of contractors will have no trust in you. So most of them will ask you to pay them first. So that's really all I can recommend, is just replicate an event you've done in the past, like a birthday party, and just replicating it from there. So what's the day? What's the theme? Who are your patrons? So who's your target market that you need to market towards, and who's actually playing, and how will they complement your event? I mean, everything else will fall in place, and everything else you'll just learn off the fly. Yeah.
See. Do you have a dream? Maybe it might be two separate answers. But for you, what's like an event or space or whatever that you'd love to play at, DJ at? And then what is like the ultimate event that you would love to organize? Yeah,
so I'd love to play like at Verknipt or Tomorrowland or Teletech overseas, so not in Australia. I just love to play overseas in Europe somewhere. It's just really hard to play there because it's so far away. Like, who's going to pay for who's going to pay for an Australian artist to come over there
when they've got 50 of you there?
Exactly. Yeah. So I would love to play at one of those really, really, really big festivals in Europe, even if it's just like at a second stage or whatever. But a dream event I'd love to help organize is festivals like Wildlands, like Touch Base, like Listen Out, Spilt Milk. Like, I just love that type of like level of organization where you're setting up multiple stages, you're setting up multiple green rooms for specific like artists, and all of that is obviously like super hectic and crazy, but I just love to get that level of experience. Like, that I think that 500 to 800 person event sort of stage, we really have a really good process down. Like, we have templates on what to send DJs on, like DJ brief for the event. Like, we have briefs for our photographers, videographers, our production crew. Like, everything's pretty automated now, where like when we have an artist, we have a process which we follow to then automate our whole like marketing campaign, our on the day campaign, and our DJ sort of lineup, things like that. So I'd love to get back into the chaos again, because that's when I had the most fun. Like, event managing is like learning new things, like everything being last minute. It's really rewarding when it all comes to place, because all the things you're working for over months is over the span of 7 hours. Yeah, which is super cool.
Yeah, nice. All right, we're into our final 3 moments.
Yep.
Where we ask similar questions to everyone. So top one is, I think you touched on it, but I'll ask it anyway. What's been your favorite DJ event so far that you DJ'd at?
Yeah, so a smaller event, actually there's 2. So my most recent one was a small event around 600, 700 people at Sugar Nightclub.
Yeah.
And I played 2 hours. So I actually played the longest set, even over the headliner, but because like we just had to fit the times in. But I really thought I showcased everything I learned over the past like year and a half, and like more so 2 years plus as a DJ. And I was just really proud of like my performance. Like, I don't think this will mean much to anyone, but like I played 3 deck strands, I played industrial, I played hard techno, I played like so many really good songs, but also transition mixed really well, that I think it was like the closest thing to a perfect set I've ever played. And my second or close second was my performance at Turbo 422 in Melbourne. So they were the first company that took a shot on me, interstate company that took a shot on me. I played a 2-hour set there as well, but from 3:30 till 5:30 a.m.
That's tough.
Yeah, and I just remember people like, there's like in front of the DJ sort of deck, there's like a mesh wire at the front, and people were just climbing it during my set, and I was just playing like really hard beats. And
that's creature hour.
Yeah, 3 like gremlin hours, bro.
Yeah.
Like, when the lights turned on, like everyone was like, why am I here?
Yeah.
But honestly, the most special thing about that was I shared it with all my friends. Like, even my sister was there. They all came with me to Melbourne. My best friend Ali was there. My partner at the time, Allison, was there. And my sister Kay. They were just all there. And to start off like as a small DJ, to perform at like arguably the best venue in Melbourne, to play the headline set for 2 hours, have all my closest friends in the whole wide world there. That you just can't beat it, man. Like, I will say, another thing about being a DJ is pretty lonely, because especially when you don't really engage in like drinking or doing drugs, most of the time we just rock up and perform and then go home. And like, I always like spend time with people who do want to talk to me, but it's lonely because no one wants to stay up until no one wants to stay up until 4 or 5 a.m. because you're playing. Like, your friends, like, you do miss a lot of friend time during the week. Like, for example, even this weekend, I'm performing in Eclipse tomorrow, and I'm going to be sat on a sunrise hike tomorrow with all my close friends. But look, at the end of the day, I made a choice and I don't regret it. But just like with anything, you make sacrifices. Yeah. So yeah, as a DJ, you make a lot of sacrifices too.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, if I had a partner or like close friend and they're like, oh, I'm doing this set at 3 a.m. I'm like, I'll go to the first one.
Yeah.
To like, this is your first one.
Yeah.
I'm not coming every week.
Of course. Yeah. And that was like a super hard thing to come to grips with. The more you get booked was like, all your friends are super excited to come because it's your first time. And then like, it just gets to the point where maybe 1 or 2 friends will come.
If you're at 9 or 10 p.m., I'll come every time.
Yeah.
3 a.m.'s like...
Yeah, and unfortunately, like the type of music I play...
Yeah, you're heavy, you're at the end.
It's always closer or close to it. So it's okay. Like, I was sad about it at the start, but then you realize I'm like, no, that's okay, because like, I can't expect people to stay up with me until 3 a.m. But also like, I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for other people now.
And for you as well.
Yeah, and for me. So when sort of that switches from, you know, DJing to your friends and everyone being hyped up and you know everyone there to DJing to random people, which can be just as fun. It's a bit of an eye-open on how lonely being a DJ can become. So you really have to be confident in yourself and be happy and secure with yourself, because then I think that's why there's so much like drugs and drinking in the industry, because, you know, when you do feel lonely, what do? You drink and do drugs.
You do advice. Yeah. What's a piece of advice that's been given to you in any aspect of life that really stands out, that's really stuck with you?
Yeah. Honestly, Zane, the only thing that's ever stuck with me for my whole life is just be yourself. Yeah. Just be yourself. Don't pretend, or don't be someone for someone else, because as soon as you become true yourself again, you lose it. Yeah. And just be yourself. And if that person or people can't handle you when you're by yourself, and don't get me wrong, if you genuinely want to change, do it. And I have changed, you know, who I am as a person so many times in my life, because, you know, I'm just growing to the next evolution of Karl or Doubledrop. Never lose sight of who you are, and just be yourself. The people who truly are meant for you as friends, as people, as your tribe, will always resonate with yourself. There's no point in being someone else, because there's no one else that can be you. So just be yourself.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
It's like the oldest cliche, but it's so effective. It's like so true.
Yeah, and like if you reflect on any hardship you've ever had on your life, I think it really just only comes back to just be yourself. Like just honestly just be yourself. Like I'm sure you did something you regret, or you did something to please someone and it was good at the time, but as soon as you didn't want to do that thing anymore, it all blew up. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last one, what's a piece of content that you've consumed, like book, podcast, whatever, recently that you think people should consume?
Yeah. So I recently, at the start of the year, dedicated myself to reading a lot of nonfiction books. And at the moment, two really great books I've been reading at the moment is Mindset by Dr. Karl. And it goes into the difference between fixed and growth mindset. And I think it's such an important book for anyone who wants to progress in their life and have an understanding of why you do certain things and why you react to different things, and how you can apply the growth mindset to your everyday life. And it's super like common one that everyone reads, Atomic Habits, but actually it's super good. Because,
it's so good.
Yeah, like just changing one thing, just a little thing, and just making it a habit and then moving on to the next thing is actually so powerful. Even things like, because I've been through it before. Like I'm just, even, you know, saying like I've actually like lost 30 kilos, gained it back, lost it again, but also been super lazy, super addicted to gaming, you know, done all that stuff. But as soon as you just change one thing and you build on it, you can literally do whatever you want in your life. You could be whoever you want to be. And so, yeah, Mindset and Atomic Habits, I definitely recommend if you're not even into nonfiction books, just commit to reading 10 pages a night, even 5. And I guarantee your life will be better off.
Yeah, nice. Well, thanks so much for coming on, man, and sharing your journey so far. I hopefully will have you on in like a year or something, and you'll have your international gigs booked. But yeah, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it, man.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Awesome.